Good morning or good evening. Welcome to another episode of 5-Minute Dissertation Diaries. Today is March 22nd, 2020. And this week, I'm still in hold waiting to get back into school. You see, it turns out I had to file an appeal form because they wanted to send me to residency, but we got this huge coronavirus thing going on right now, so they've canceled their residencies. It took me a while to figure it out, but I understand now. They have a policy that if you finished your extension courses, which I have, and you haven't submitted to AQR, which I have not, then you need to go to their residency program and take another residency. Now that might not be a bad idea because I'm having problems with my instrumentation. And if AQR rejects my proposal because of instrumentation, then I will need to take another residency to sit down and try to figure out how I'm going to handle instrumentation. Because quite honestly, I'm lost on it. Let me tell you what happened this week. Sunday, nothing happened. Monday the 17th, I reached out regarding the appeal and asked, hey, what's the status of it? And I was told, hey, they have 2 weeks to respond. 2 weeks will be up this coming Thursday. The next day, on Wednesday, I received a note that I need to take an exit interview, an email I received that I need to take an exit interview because I'm no longer in school. I freaked out. I called my advisor and asked, what is going on? She told me that's a form-generated email after you've been out of school for 2 weeks, which I have, and there's nothing you can do about it, so I just ignored it. However, the next day, on Thursday, I get a call from Jenna and an email saying that my outcome in the appeal form was unclear. And I didn't understand that. So I called her up and I texted her and she called me back. On the appeal form, it just says university appeal. And the first thing it says is describe the issue. Well, at the very top of the form, you put in your name and who you are and what your student number is. And it just says there are 2 blocks that you fill out. The first one says describe the issue. And I got confused. I was like, I don't know what the issue is. The issue is you're not scheduling me for courses. But it turns out, in this case, the issue is I need to describe why I have not been able to submit to AQR up until now. It's not in the form. It's just a generic form. And it didn't say that. So I was able to fill that out and said, hey, I got tied up. I had some problems with getting the literature review put together. And I have some great videos I've published on how to handle the literature review. So if you're struggling with the literature review, go back and look at those videos. They're fantastic. I figured it out. I had help from other people, but I figured out how you do it, soup to nuts, put together a great literature review. But that added time, figuring all that out. The other thing was I lost a month or two because my methodologist went dark. I put that in the describe the issue section. I had trouble with the literature review. It's fine now. I had trouble with finding the methodologist, and I had a documented case number at the university, so they're able to reference that. And in fact, when I submitted it, my advisor was actually out of town. A stand-in advisor, Scott, I believe his name was, dug up the case documents and submitted that with the form. So that's good. The issue's fine. And then the next block. So the first block was describe the issue. The second block is you say, what is your desired outcome? And this is where I got hung up last week or this week. I put the desired outcome was I wanted to submit to AQR. But apparently that was unclear. And Jenna said, you need to make that more clear. And I wrote her and I asked, well, what do I need to do? Do I need to define the words in there? Do I need to define AQR? Do I need to define submit? What is unclear? And I was pretty frustrated. And that's when she calmed me down and said, look, this is within the context of you going to residency because that's the policy if you haven't submitted to AQR at this point. I asked her, are you really going to send me to residency? Haven't you canceled those because of the coronavirus? And she said, yeah, the soonest we can get into residency is May or June. And I said, well, that's silly. But I know what to do now. She said, no, you've got to define it in terms of that. So I did. I said, what I want to do is be enrolled in a course so that I can submit my current draft, which met all the requirements of my committee, get it in there, and get it off to AQR. I did that. I filled that out Thursday, put it together, sent it on its way. Hopefully, the 2-week clock doesn't restart at that point. I asked her, I said, this is a week late now. Does the clock restart? And she said, no, I don't think so. Now, the truth is, I don't think they're going to have a problem appealing it. I'm ready to submit to AQR, at least I say I am. They've got coronavirus canceling the university on-site meetings and courses anyways. So they're not anxious to force me into a residency. I've given them ample reason not to, and they don't want to, I don't think. I'm pretty confident that I'll make it through, and they'll just approve the appeal and let me continue on and schedule my next course. The challenge is, what I'm going to find out, I think, is that AQR will reject it based on my instrumentation or lack thereof. So I don't know how to handle that. She said she didn't think the clock would restart. Hopefully I'll learn something this week. 2-week clock runs this week. That's all I did there. Friday, I made a colossal blunder for a client and wiped out 170,000 customer data records inadvertently. And the client spent a good chunk of the weekend reconstructing it. Sadly, the system I wiped out is a system they use to notify people in emergency situations. And they've been utilizing this system to manage all their employees. It's a very large company, and suppliers and everybody else, and communicate for the coronavirus. So I took away their ability to do that while they were scrambling to rebuild. I don't know how much blowback to expect from that, but I was a mess on Friday. I did that Friday around 1 p.m., and I was just beside myself. I had no idea what I was doing would do that. And I thought I was working with a test system. Turns out my code was plugged into the production system. Bad, 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 bad. But that knocked me out Friday. Friday I was just a mess. Didn't do anything other than that. Curled up in bed and just sat there. That's all for this week, this last week. This coming week, what I hope to do is get re-enrolled in a class and get my paper off to my dissertation chair, who will review it, and then send it off to the committee, who will review it, and then send it off to AQR, who will review it. Each of those steps takes 6 weeks. So I'm going to burn an entire 8-week course, because now my courses are 8 weeks. I'll burn an entire 8-week course just getting it to AQR and getting a response. The good news is, at that point, hopefully, I'll know whether or not I do need to go to residency, and it will be May, so I can go to Phoenix in the summer. I don't relish the thought of that. Whatever. Hope things are going well for you. That's where I'm at, trying to move forward here. It is a pain, but I'm trying to do it. Hope things go well. Take care.